tengo que bregar con eso.
Okay, so you want to start?
Entonces, comencemos.
Hello.
Hello, Hernán. How are you?
Good, Elmo. How are you doing?
Is it Hernán?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Most
got
definitely. One of the first things that I start these conversations with is the question of community.
Well, that is a very good question, and something that we need to revisit often, because I have a hopscotch relationship with Providence. It's very important that people understand how Rights and Reason came into being. George Bass was recruited after the Black student walkout at Brown in December of 1968. And George Houston Bass had been the last personal secretary to Langston Hughes. But George had a different point of view, looking at elevating particularly Black American experiences to the level of epic proportions, raising ordinary people to the level of sheroes and heroes. He was very clear that he wanted to create an institution that was not hidden behind the ivy walls of Brown. He wanted it to stretch out into the community, and eventually that's what he did. One of the, the sayings at Rights and Reason is the place to be free to be who you are becoming. When I was recruited to come back to Brown, it was a different world than when I was a student. I was part of the last generation that actually experienced American apartheid, segregation. So we were mostly a working class Black kids coming to this prestigious white university, apprehensive, afraid, defensive. Many times we felt that we were admitted but not accepted. We were very conscious of a group effort in how we related to each other as Black people, also the Black people in the community. We knew that we were the experiment. There were people, there were alumni, there were white alumni who thought that Brown had made a big mistake. We knew that, but we didn't give a damn. In the late 90s, I worked with 20 undergraduate students to create what is now called the Black Lavender course. Trying to find works was very difficult because those works, first of all, being a Black or Latino, Asian, queer writer, just to get a production is a major challenge. So to get a publication is even harder. So I had to pull on every contact that I knew. And we read everything, whether it was poetry, novels, movies that had even the hint of queerness in it. So the outgrowth of the course was the Black Lavender experience. That's a showcase of a queer artist of color. So that was another transition. We went from just Black artists to queer artists of color.
Yeah.
You know, what I find interesting, Hernán, is that I have people, I tell them about the courses I teach, and I say, well, are all the people in your Black Lavender class gay? I said, I don't do a survey. I don't poll my students. I have no idea. All I know is that they're in my class and they say they want to learn something that's in that course. And sometimes people will tell you who they are, and you just respect that. Community is, it's expansive and it grows exponentially by the work that you do. You just have to be open to what exactly are you doing. People who are not enrolled at Brown, let's say, will bring us ideas. They say, we need your help. And one of the major ones we did was back in the late 90s, early 2000s, a play that I wrote called Heart to Heart, Ain't Your Life Worth Saving? That was about heart disease and stroke amongst women of African descent, the local American Heart Association. They said Black women are dying in high rates and public service announcements and brochures are not working. They said we need a play to address the focus group, the target group are Black women. I said, we got to change that language. And they said, what? I said, you got to say women of African descent. They said, why? I said, because you have a lot of people who, from my world, are Black, but they don't call themselves Black for various reasons. Some because they don't want to be identified as Black. They don't want to be at the bottom of the social totem pole, or they identify through a nationality. And I got angry, and I was talking to the director, who was a longtime buddy of mine from New York, I said, Marsha, I don't know if I can write this play. She said, why? I said, because it seems like Black people are at high risk for everything except good health, prosperity, and longevity. She says, then stay mad, get angry, and write the play, because everybody else feels like that too. And once that released me, from that point on, we partnered with a Lifespan Hospitals. We got support from the Brown University Medical School. And we did a full-blown production. We went to churches, we went to schools. You see what I'm saying in terms of how the community grew.
All the effort that you put to build that space and negotiating with an institution that was primarily white. In terms of your personal experience, is there something that you want to share after all this time, spending time there?
You know, like in the novel and the movies, or many movies of A Tale of Two Cities, it's been the best of times, it's been the worst of times. You know? But that's life. You know, you just have to, you know, you have to, I think that's just life. I mean, you know, I'm gonna answer your question, but I also teach introduction to playwriting. And I have a exercise that drives students crazy. I say, okay, I want you to write a scene where there are no problems. There are no problems. They struggle. I said, that tells you a lot about life, doesn't it? I said, what do we do in life? What do we do? And we tell stories and we solve problems.
Mm.
Okay, we're gonna do this. Hernán, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm well.
Me too. Have a great day.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. That's a story. So my advice, you know, people always asking older people, you know, what's your advice? What are your advice? Oh, Lord, just keep breathing. That's the first thing you have to do. I would say be open to always learning, and be aware that most of what you don't know is greater than what you do know. And then the concept of passing it on. In Hindu teachings, there are two questions that I love. First question is, what is action without knowledge? That can be a very dangerous thing. Then the other one is, what is knowledge without action? And knowledge without action can be a very selfish thing.
Right.
You know, I could see a person, let's say, fell down and, you know, cut their leg. I know how to fix it. But if I just walk on by, I'm hoarding vital information.
How can institutions be more active serving the communities they are working for?
Well, the thing about when you work in a place like Brown is that we you know, there's so many things we have to do. So a lot of it becomes, how do you conserve your energies and how do you expend them? So people say rights and reason. It's not like we got a staff of 20 people. It's really a handful of people. And then Providence has grown. I mean, the fact that there is, you know, that you're working with, you know, arts and tourism culture, that didn't exist back then. And that's a shifting community where people saying, oh, what these people do, whether it's the visual arts or the performing arts, that we are not, you know, excess. You know, we're not disposable, but actually what we do actually can help make people's lives better. You know, so anyway, interesting. But one thing that goes back to the communities just go, you know, you just keep talking about it. Your community is the globe.
Yeah, it's where you put your energy, right? In the space you want to see grow.
The community is something that you can grow exponentially if you want, if you're open to that. You know, like I knew I came from a mixed race family, old family, but you know, I had my DNA. You know, oh yeah, there's got to be some European there, but it was 45% European. Go figure. You know, so yeah, the community can be myopic if you want it to be. You can have a little tribe, or you can be expansive.
Yeah, Elmo, I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, be safe.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye, Elmo.